I want to cover how to write the test cases for the Java coding. This is not only specific to Java coding, it will be useful for all the standards. And basically I am going to take for Java. So first we will see how test cases will be useful for coding. Testing is a set of conditions or variables under which a tester will determine whether a system under test satisfy the requirements or works correctly. So first testing and test cases will be decided based on the requirement or functionality. It is not based on the coding. And also testing is an integral part of the system development functions. And testing can only establish that the system does not function properly under specific conditions. Testing is a process of executing a program with intent of finding an error. So good test case will cover all the scenarios, positive scenarios and negative scenarios. And also as a developer, how it will give a confidence on testing test cases. For example, in the middle we got any new requirement changes comes. So using test cases we can test our old scenarios, our basic scenarios whether working or not after applying new changes. And also we have to write what are the positive scenarios, what are the functional requirements and what are the negative scenarios. We have to cover all the scenarios for the testing, all the scenarios for the coding in test cases. And unit test is not sufficient as application needs to be examined. For example, we have an interaction between components. For example, our coding is connecting to any data access, how that connectivity is working, and complaints with the software requirement specifications. Any complaints or any negative scenarios we have to cover, and any software requirement specifications problems are there, that is also we have to cover. And how about the performance of the coding and meeting the customer's goals. So all these 4 points we have to keep in mind while writing test cases, and we have to write all the scenarios for the coding. And we will see how many flavors we have in testing, and we will go one by one and how our test cases will be useful and how to write, how many ways we have to write, and how we'll get confident after writing test cases. We'll see. So basically we have 5 flavors of testing. So we'll go to that. We have 5 flavors of testing. One is unit testing, second is integration testing, third functional testing, 4 load testing, 5th acceptance testing. Unit test is basically for unit of work need to be right. For example, we have class, we have a set of methods. So basically the test is only enough for that unit of work, means that is only specific to the class. Second one is integration testing. So as we discussed before, this is connectivity between the components. So for example, how it is connecting to the other component, how service layer is connecting to the DAO. So that is also we have to keep in mind, and we have to write the test cases for that. And the third is functional testing. This is basically like it should test the application use cases. Functional test cases is a type of black box testing that bases its test cases on the specification of the software component. The test and as such should require no knowledge of the inner design of the code or logic. What we have written logic, it's not matter. Functional test case is nothing but what are the requirements, what is the input is given, what is the output for that, how the system should work. That is basically functional testing. And stress or load testing, this is basically for the performance testing. This is like how you are giving input, and to process that input, how much time it is taking, how effective and how security is. It's like performance testing will cover. So basically, like we'll have some time limit for the executing one request. So basically, like that will be come to the performance testing and acceptance testing. So all four are kind of testing. Acceptance testing is for like need to be satisfied, need to meet customer goals. So that will come to the acceptance testing. So these 5 levels will cover all the requirements, all the performance, all acceptance test cases for the coding. And we'll see in Java how many types JUnits we have, and how to write one basic JUnit, and how many levels we have to write integration testing, how many methods we have to write test cases in Java. We'll see. So we covered 5 levels of testing, and we'll go one by one. So before going to the inside, I want to explain. Second point is JUnit sample program. This is basically like basic coding, basic JUnit for the Java program. This is DB unit. Basically, we have discussed integration testing. So that means how service layer is connecting to the data access layer. So that we can cover using DB unit. DB unit is specific to the database JUnit. And next is the HSQLDB testing. This is for the Hibernate SQLDB testing. So this is basically only for data access which is not using Hibernate. This is basically for HQL. And other one is easy mock sample programs. So basically easy mock, why we will go for the easy mock? For example, we have one component which we cannot connect using test cases. For example, in my application, I am connecting to one email server, and that email server is external system, and that system I cannot test. And why I cannot test, one reason, that is very cost, that is external product we are using, and for each and every head we are paying the money. So unnecessarily for writing JUnit, I cannot use external system to connect and give the test results. So that kind of scenario. And second scenario, like sometimes using JUnit we cannot connect to the particular systems. Even in that case also we'll go for the easy mock. So using easy mock, we'll mock the external system and we'll expect what is my output if I give some inputs to the external system, so that we can write our test, we can write test cases for our own methods using easy mock, mocking other external systems. So this is the easy one. So first we will see what is basic understanding on JUnit, basic example, and how to write. So this is basically JUnit, and JUnit is a unit testing framework for the Java programming language, and JUnit has been important in the development of test-driven development, and JUnit provides a ready-made test harness for executing unit tests as well as an API for reporting the success or failure status of a test. So it will be like how the coding is working. So whether with the test failure, with the test success or failures will get it. And JUnit test cases below follow the rules. Each unit test must run independently of all other unit testing. Yes, it should be independent. What is the input is given to that test method should be independent. It should not affect based on the first method to the second method. And the second point is errors must be detected or reported test by test. Yes, based on the inputs how the test is working. So whatever results will be reports, it should be test by test. And it must be easy to define which unit test will run. Yes, it should be defined. And the JUNIT features. So we'll go to the JUNIT features. And first, standard resource initialization reclamation method. So for each and every method we have to initialize the input parameters, and then we have to go for the writing the test cases. And second point, separate class loaders for each unit test to avoid side effects, and a variety of asset methods to check the results of your test. Yes. So, writing asset conditions for the test cases, it's not be simple. It should not be simple. Getting the result, whether it is null or not, whether I am getting input or not. This is not the case. After getting the results, as I expected, values are there inside that object or result. We have to verify. Based on the input, these are the results I have to get, and we have to validate the results. And fourth point is alternate front ends to display the results of your test. And fifth point is integration with popular tools, and fourth one is alternate front ends to display the results of your test. And fifth one is integration with popular tools and Maven popular IDEs like Eclipse JBuilder. Yes, for example, if we have used Maven and we can set up that Maven to execute the JUnit whenever we do build for the project. So it will give the results based on the coding whether test results are passing or not. Until that test cases pass, it will not create any build for the project. So we have an option to use integration for that. And JUnit design goals. The framework must help us lower the cost of writing tests for reusing code. The framework must help us create a test that retain value over time. Any class can be test case. All the test methods should have a test annotation. The test class does not need to extend any particular class. And all the unit test methods to be public void and take no parameters. And the test methods to make asset calls to validate the outcome. And available annotations for test methods is before class, after class, before, after. And before class is it is same, but only difference is before class run before any test has been executed only once for the execution, but before run each and every test cases. Basically, before what we have to use is to initialize the object. So once we initialize the object, if we want to initialize each and every test for that object, we have to go for the before. And before class is like if you think that object is not getting changed because of one test classes, we can go for the before class. So before class will be executed only once for the class. Before is specific to the method. So each and every test case will execute before method. So even after class, after also. After class is run after all the tests have been executed. After finishing the class, after finishing all the test cases in a single class, it will go to the after class. And after is for each and every test. After executing each and every test cases, it will go to the after. And we'll see one sample program how we have written. See, I'm writing one test cases for addition class. So how I'm using before. In before I'm creating object, and this is my test case whether asset equals that the result is coming or not. So this is the test process. So we have to give an annotation to give the identification. This is the test case. So based on annotation it will execute, and this is for after, and after execution of method we have to make it as a null. Actually after and before, that means setup method and tear down methods are not required, but as a coding standard this is more and more required, because because if we whatever objects are created for the testing methods, we have to make it as a null. Otherwise, we'll get out of memory exception when we go for Maven or any build. Not only Maven or generally, it will keep on create objects and it will not destroy. So each and every method, whenever we are going for the setup and creating object, it should require making that object as a null. And writing test cases, I have written only positive scenarios, but we have to write any negative scenarios also. If I am passing only plus values, if I give negative value, how it will come? If I don't pass numbers, what will happen? So need to cover all the scenarios, not only positive, negative scenarios. For example, if I give something else values, how that handle exceptions, whether if I give unknown values, how that exception is throwing, I should get exception. So this is the failure scenario. So that also we have to cover. So this is the useful for the JUnit. This is the basic understanding on JUnit for Java. Thank you.